So I got addicted to one of the games my son is playing on the mobile phone the other week, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it today, because last time we met, we spoke a lot about screens were a big topic of conversation linked to what people have been exposed to. I want to talk a little bit about what our kids are actually doing when they're on the screens, even when we're trying to be intentional with it. So let me tell you a story. This you're going to laugh at me, and please, I welcome it. Please heckle me.
It won't be the first time.
I'm ready. So he loves dinosaurs. He wants to be a paleontologist when he's older. So we found this like Jurassic World game, and he found it on mum's phone and went to play it. I'm like, yep, download it. I downloaded it as well, thinking I want to see what he's playing and we can bond over it. And you get this little dinosaur character. You're running around eating other dinosaurs. You get points. You level up your dinosaur and you unlock new levels and new levels. We started playing it together. After about half an hour, okay, Alf, your screen time is over. It's time for you to come back to the real world. I'll come back as well. And then I went to the bathroom and I pulled it out, thinking I'll just get a level higher than him so I know the mechanics of the game and I can help coach him through the game. And I sat on the toilet for about an hour. And then later that night over dinner, Alfie's gone to bed and I'm sat with my wife and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing the dinosaur game. That night, 2 a.m, I'm still playing the dinosaur game. It took me about 3 or 4 days before I went, it's got me. Like, this game has suckered me in, and it's like having the cognitive awareness that, you know, it's not new science. Like B.F. Skinner, like one of the most recognized psychologists and behavioral psychologists in history, it's adaptive rewards. It's not a guaranteed there's going to be a reward. It's a win, win, lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, lose, win, win. It's that slot machine gambler's kind of hook.
Absolutely.
Built into the app. Designed for an 8-year-old, because dinosaurs and an 8-year-old boy, that's a cheat code. And I wondered if either of you have ever found yourselves sort of doing what your kids are doing and actually finding, oh wow, this has really suckered me in as well. Jess, you've got
cat videos.
Okay.
Because I would they don't use phones and iPads that much. There are times when they use it. It's more to do with things like YouTube. And I think they're really open to that concept of YouTube. And yes, we'll have YouTube on the background and it'll be, can we look at some funny cats? I really don't need to look at funny cats.
No, I've got better things to do in my life.
Well, actually, I don't have many more better things to do in my life, but yes, I like to think that I have. And there'll be a funny cat on and I'll go, oh, it's just a funny cat. That was quite funny, actually. There's another funny cat. That's really quite funny. We watch another one and then another one and then it pops up another one and then it keeps going and it keeps going. So I'm sat there with my daughters and we're having a great time. We're laughing, but 45 minutes have passed of crazy cats. and it was a completely addictive cycle. So maybe not so much with the gaming, definitely the YouTube pull, because as soon as you watch one video, it then pops up with 2 more that you can choose. And you're dragged straight in.
Can I share, because obviously we are friends, that you've got cats in your house.
Yes, we
have.
have.
So you could play with the cats and watch the cats.
I know, that is the point.
But you don't. Instead, you're watching the screen version of your cats.
Yes, I just think our cats aren't as entertaining as the ones on camera.
Or you're not catching the entertaining
That's
parts.
true.
Yeah, probably because you're too busy watching the screen.
That's true, actually.
Well, and it's not on repeat. It's not. You might catch one time where your cat is doing something crazy, but you don't get to watch it the next minute doing something else crazy. In the next 30 seconds, doing something else crazy like you can on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's like that when you watch sport, right? You can watch a 90-minute game. You went to watch football the other night, right? And you go to watch a 90-minute game, and probably out of that 90 minutes, there's about 10 minutes that are entertaining. And then somebody will take that and they'll edit it down. They'll show you that 10 minutes. And then you can go on YouTube and see the 100 best goals and you can watch 10 seconds of each match. So, yeah, I think we always want to look for those highlights in life. I want to go quickly to get there. Oh, it's the bit when somebody falls over when the cat does something silly.
Yeah.
So,
rather than watching the cat for an hour waiting for that one funny moment.
Yeah, which would be very tranquil and
probably quite
and very zen and mindful.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're geared towards. And I think those cat videos were an example of that. So,
how about yourself, North?
I haven't gotten sucked into the games.
Okay. What about
so I think more like Jez is saying with the videos, cat videos, bike videos, different things like that I'll get sucked into too. I think when I watch my kids play video games, because they do that quite a bit, I don't know what they're talking about most of the time, and I'll have like a load of boys, my boys, and other kids in the car or at the pool or somewhere, and they'll be having some conversation, and I get very little. I understand very little of it because it is all coming out of video game language that I haven't invested the time.
Do you find that are you trying to track when they're having that conversation and they're playing about video games? Are you tracking to try and sort of hear any sort of risk factors or alarm bells, or is it so far outside your frame of reference that you can't track it enough to know if there's...
I think with the video games that they're playing, I'm not... Yeah, I guess I would pick up if there was alarm bells.
Right.
When they're talking about videos that they've watched, YouTube videos, then I definitely pick up on those. Or if I'm listening to them watching YouTube, I'll pick up on those. But with the actual video games, I try to understand what they're saying, but most of the time I don't, and I let it go.
Yeah.
But thinking about Skinner and his research, that makes so much sense with how the video games are played and how it's designed to suck you in and take a lot of time, and you feel that reward every time you move on.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned the YouTube videos that kind of just hit, and well, you've watched one video, it only took 5 seconds, so what's wrong with another video? It's only 5 seconds. Because after the dinosaur game, I sat with Alfie, I was like, no, we're gonna come off that game. Like, it got me. so, he's like, your dinosaur's so much bigger. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's because I know how to play the game. Kind of shame, like that kind of the addict's shame of like hiding. It's not because I'm better at the game, it's because I just invested 5 times the amount of time that you did. So let's find a different game. And he wanted to, we looked through a few games and we looked at the little teasers they have on the app stores and the Play stores and what have you. And they come across this game that looked like Snake, like the old version of Snake. A snake eats other snakes, gets them in points.
I think I had that on my Nokia 3610 or something.
The 36, I had the 3310. Yes. But yeah, it's a really simple concept game. I'm like, well, that didn't really do any damage to me when I was your age. Yeah, we'll download the Snake game. Let's play the Snake game. So we both started playing it. And the concept of this game was the concept of snake. Your snake goes, eats other snakes. But then at the end of the round, and the round's only a minute long, all the snakes that you've eaten have built your snake to a certain size, and it goes head to head against a boss, against this like master snake for that level. And they come at each other like trains, and the master snake inevitably eats you the first time. You go another minute. Your snake now is bigger. It has more points. You can eat the master snake, and it's win, lose, win, and that kind of gambling theory coming in. But there's also no stopping cue. There's at no point do you go, okay, I'm done. And Sam Atler's research and work on stopping cues kind of puts it quite nicely that when we were kids or when I was playing Snake, you'd finish, you get your high score, and then you restart from zero. You're not building up progressively. There's a natural stopping point. It's when your snake gets eaten or you run into the wall. When you watch a football game, there's a natural stopping point. The whistle goes. You might have a bit of extra time, but it's an end point. You watch a TV series, there's an end point 60 minutes later. They're designing those things out of the games and out of the YouTubes. There is no stopping cue and no end point. And watching Alfie engage with these games or with YouTube as well, it's just one more, it's just one more minute. Well, what's the harm with one more minute until it becomes one more out? Where do you put the stopping cue? So I kind of wanted to ask, like, the girls with the YouTube, if you're watching the funny cat videos, do you put a stopping cue in place? Is it a time-based? Is it a...
Well, I think I have to talk about this both personally and as a parent, because as a parent, my alarm bells come on a lot quicker. They need to get off this. They need to stop this. So how do we do it? And that can meet various challenges. The main challenge is who switches the TV off. Because if I pick up the remote and I switch the TV off, it erupts. There's an immediate outburst of, no, why are we doing this? We want to do this. Please can we do this? Oh, daddy, that's not fair. Daddy. So then it comes to, okay, does the eldest have three girls, and the 9-year-old would then switch it off, but then the other 2 would go crazy, and then maybe I go crazy because I want to watch more cat videos. So we've reached a point now where the youngest, she will take the remote and she will switch it off. Not everybody's happy, but it has to come from the youngest, because I feel like she's the boss of the family, but also she doesn't quite understand it as much. I don't know if that makes sense, but
she's not seeing the conflict point, maybe that
she's not. She definitely wants to watch more.
Yeah.
Like even at that age, she wants to watch more. She's so entertained by it. She finds it so funny. Everybody's laughing, but she has to switch it off. But that's the only way you can do it. It can't be to move on to something else. And it's the same with the iPad. If they're using the iPad too much, then it's just we take it away and hide it.
And that's
out of sight.
I find, because we have the same conversation about it, it's who has to tell him. Is it me that has to be the bad cop, or mum that has to be the bad cop? And, but the way they've designed the system now, or the way they're designing these games and YouTube Shorts, or even sort of like your Netflix and your Prime, where it just auto plays into the next episode or starts the next movie, the designers have forced the parents to be the stopping cue, to be in conflict with what your kid is wanting and desiring. So now I'm in conflict, whereas previously maybe you'd go, when your life's over, that's it, done, right? When you die in the game, that's it. You got 3 lives. Let's just agree that before you start playing. Well, now you go, oh, the game is designed that those 3 lives aren't a clear cut because the next one could be a win, and now I've just taken away your chance to win or your chance to find a new funny cat video. So conflict with the kids, North, is that something that you've come across with your boys with that video game? You don't understand it, you're in conflict with them, or is there a way to handle it maybe that takes some of that pressure off the parent for a stopping cue?
Yes, I think the stopping cue is really important to think about. And it's a struggle for sure. It's a challenge. I think for us, we're kind of on a rough time. It's not an exact time for a certain amount of screen time each day, but we have kind of a rough guide, and then it is always longer than that. And typically we try to say, okay, you're going to turn it off in X amount of minutes. In 5 minutes, it's almost time to stop. Go ahead and start thinking about it. To just kind of plant that seed. Sometimes that's effective.
That wasn't 5 minutes. That was only 4.5.
Yes. More times than not, it's myself and my wife asking multiple times for, okay, we gave you a warning. Now it's time to turn it off. 2 minutes later. Okay, time to turn it off. 2 minutes later. Time to turn it off. When I do pick up the computer or the iPad and turn it off, then I get the eruption and things blow up, and it's not very pretty for a short amount of time. It usually resolves fairly quickly, but definitely some challenges there. And sometimes I want to pick up the computer and throw it on the ground, just like my kids.
If you can't turn it off, I'm going to take it away.
Throw it away. Yes.
I think when not to be too nostalgic, but I don't know if I had a Commodore 64. And that was a cassette tape that you had to put in, and it loaded, and you had to wait 100 of the counts, which wasn't seconds, it was more than that. So you had to wait nearly 10 minutes for the game to load. And then when it did load, it would go to the start screen, and you would have 3 lives that you were just talking about. And guess what? When those 3 lives ran out, you didn't get a chance to continue. You didn't get a chance to do any of that.
Spend those coins you just earned to continue and buy them. No,
exactly.
You're back to home screen.
Yeah. And so the game came to a natural end, and you got used to that pattern. I mean, I was good at games. I didn't always lose, but yes.
Eventually, Pac-Man gets eaten.
Eventually. And you got used to that pattern, and it was okay. So when you finished, that was a natural ending. But there's no sense of that natural ending now, whether it's Netflix or whether it's YouTube or whether it's a game or whatever it is. There's no natural ending. And so the only natural ending comes about when time has to interrupt them, when it's mealtime or it's bedtime or it's something else. So, yeah, it's a delicate balancing act in terms of how long they're on it and how you intervene.
Yeah. So we tried in my house, we sort of looked at that problem, like there's no stopping cue. How can we build one in that kind of comes in authentically, that he has control over and owns the stopping cue? So we put in place a start cue. So we went, for every 20 minutes that you read, you get 10 minutes of watching or playing a game. So we're like, we'll get him doing something productive, or half hour of sports gets you 15 minutes of this, or X number of steps. Basic bribery. Yeah. If they're going to use psychological behaviour research to get into my son, I'm going to use it to combat them back. But what I realised really quickly is we'd actually just taken really healthy, good activities that we wanted to encourage and turn them into toll booth activities. And that now reading wasn't for pleasure, it was a ticket to the game or the screen. And sports was no longer fun with your dad, it was a ticket to the screen. And the dopamine kind of expectations, Huberman does a great podcast on this, about the dopamine levels and your resting states and where they are at. and that the games kind of hack that and they change the expectations for dopamine. You can't have a high without a low.
Mm-hmm.
And so now reading became the low because it's in contrast against something that is designed to hit. Now I don't like reading because it's nowhere near as entertaining as the screen. I don't want to do sports. It's not as entertaining as the screen. We went, oh no, we have we've destroyed our son's love for sports and reading all these wonderful, holistic things that you want to see a kid doing if they're balanced. And we had to kind of really work to backtrack on that and undo kind of this system that we thought would have positive. The unintended consequences, however, were really quite negative. And I wondered if either of you have tried similar setups and gone, and trying to control the screen time, we've set up a system that now has a negative unintended consequence.
Well, it's interesting you say that because my older son is going into, or is in grade 6. And so he's working on more homework and things like that. And right now we've pretty much just left his management of that to him, like when he does it, with our encouragement and our reminding to do it.
Independence
learning. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do it on Sunday morning. And then it turns into Sunday night. And throughout that whole time, we're like, okay, you're going to get, just so you know, you're going to get to Sunday night and you're not going to be happy when we say you need to do your homework right now. And sure enough, last weekend, it got to Sunday night. He hadn't done it yet. He was not happy about it. So now I'm thinking, okay, he needs to do his homework. He usually watches some shows in the morning on the weekends. We're going to say he can't watch his shows until he's done his homework.
And so they say, you follow me down the garden track.
Yeah, down the same thing. Which homework is a little bit different than the reading and the sports, but I'm curious.
Because no one wants to do the homework anyway.
I'm curious how that will play out.
No, we do it all the time when I want to exercise, and the feeling before exercise often is, so heavy, and then I do the exercise and I feel good. Now, when it comes to, and that's hard work. That's hard work to motivate yourself, to get yourself off the sofa, to get out, to get exercise, to do those things. But the feeling afterwards is great, that dopamine release, and it's much more sustained. Picking up the phone and getting those little dopamine hits that you're talking about. I don't think I've ever come off my phone and been on a YouTube looking at cats, or I've been on Facebook, or I've been on something scrolling, and I've come away going, God, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
I had a really good search then. I really enjoyed scrolling.
What a great scroll that was.
Yeah, and I was going.
I could scroll like that again sometime.
As I was reading about some political viewpoint in the UK that really didn't appeal to me or matter, and then I looked at something else, and it was just, oh yes, I haven't seen that friend in 12 years. That's interesting. I don't come off with a buzz.
Yeah.
So that seesaw effect of how easy it is to get that phone, and how easy it is to scroll, and those little hits when you're doing it keep you going, but when you come off. Always. What did I just do?
Because I recognize that in myself. Like when I come off the phone, it's the intentionality behind the device use. If I go in to complete a report or work out a timetable or whatever else and I get the activity done, that buzz does carry through. It's been productive use of time.
Sure.
If I've just been scrolling, it doesn't carry through. There's the intentionality of what am I trying to achieve here comes into play. And that's kind of this idea of traction and distraction. That they talk about in psychology when you're looking at habit forming or you're looking at goal management. Attraction activity is one that you set out to do with intent for an end purpose, and you ride that through to the goal. It could be learning a language through an app, but you've set out to hit a target and the app is your traction point. It's driving you towards your goal. It could be the distraction. Before I go for a run, I'm going to scroll. And now, oh, look, it started raining and it's too late to go for a real run before breakfast. So I should probably just put my run up. It's distracted you from your actual goal.
Yeah.
But I want to come back. I want to talk about that a little bit more. But before that, you mentioned something really interesting on you come off without the high. It doesn't carry over.
Yeah. And
linking that to the sort of the conflict point with our kids when I've set up the time or removed the toll booth and whatever else. When Alfie comes off that device, then everything needs to be instant.
Immediate.
It's not that he comes off and he's the same as when he went on the screen. He comes off demanding, irritable, sometimes aggressive. And I've spoken about this with my wife and sort of like, what is happening when he's on that device to trigger this? And then we're looking at what he's doing and that quick, you want it? It's now. You expect to win? You've won. Oh, you lost. Now you've won. Now you've lost. Now you've won. You've won. It builds. When I want that dopamine hit, it's a button click away. Now you come off and you're hungry. You want something to eat. Okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll make you a sandwich. No, I'm hungry now. Yeah, but the real world doesn't, I can't just ping a sandwich into existence. There's a process.
I think
So you come off without, you could just magic a sandwich. Yeah. Here's one I made earlier. I wonder what your kids are like at different ages. You know, are girls different to boys? Is having multiple kids in the house or older kids, does that balance out? Or is that irritability that I get with Alfie in that argument something you see in yours?
Yeah, I would say it's short-lived, but I think that particularly when there's more of a conflict, when it's time to turn it off, the demands are immediate. The demands or I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to lay on the couch and be mad. And it usually ends pretty quickly, but
would you say that's coming from the negative experience of the conflict or the removal of the screen?
I think it's the removal of the screen. Yeah. I wanted this next fix.
Yeah.
And you just took that opportunity away from me, and now I'm withdrawing. Might be a quick. Yeah.
No, I'm against you. You're my conflict point because you've taken away that hit.
It's interesting you talk about that pattern, that concept of traction versus distraction. I don't know if you're familiar with Daniel Coyle. I mean, he talks about the talent code and talks about how we develop a talent. And I'm not saying that going on phones is a talent, but I'm saying it's a pattern that strengthens in our brain. So the synapses are moving through, and the myelin, every time we do that process, is insulating and strengthening it. And those electrical impulses are going faster and faster and faster. That it becomes a pattern. But what's interesting about that, just thinking now, is that there's no end point.
Mm-hmm.
There's no I've just lost my 3 lives. There's no I've achieved my goal. Like when you said you go on your phone and you achieve a goal and you feel okay, I feel good with that. Whereas when I'm scrolling, there is no goal. I've not achieved anything.
Yeah.
But I'm still developing these
patterns
in my brain that are just going off to actually
nowhere. When you call it a talent, like it is a talent to scroll. Like when I see some of the kids at school, you know, the middle schools and the high schools scrolling through their Instagram or their Reels, the speed at which they are judging the content is obscene. I've not even had a chance to process what I'm seeing before they've already categorized it, judged it, and decided it's not worth watching. Flick, 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 flick. This one, watch for 30 seconds. Flick, flick, flick. How they're making that judgment it is practice.
It's a talent, and it's a speed, and I look at how I text, and I look at how teenagers text, and I do it in a very different way because I didn't start until later, and they're much quicker.
But they can't do it without looking.
They can't do it without looking.
We used to do it without looking, like under the table. The teacher couldn't see it. Tap, 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 tap. You press 3 times on the C, twice on the A. You throw your letter out.
If I did that, you wouldn't want to read the message. That's the thing. It's the speed with which they do it and the talent that they develop and the fact that it's going nowhere is partly why I believe that when you go down that alley, there's nothing at the end. There is no proper reward. There is no end goal. There is no sense of I've achieved anything. However, you still want to go back and do it again. So why is that?
I mean, it kind of links to kind of what do we do, right? We're all clearly aware this stuff is neurobiologically getting in there and changing behaviors of the kids. So what do we do about it? It's kind of the big question, right? The big ask. And what I've tried or started trying to do with my son is actually just have frank, open, reciprocal conversations that try and remove the conflict. It's not me, the conflict point, saying don't do it. It's look at this together. It's negative because this is what it's doing. This is how it's working. This is how it's getting into your brain. So do you want that to be happening? And it's sort of like, it's Bowlby's attachment theory, that kind of trust that we have in each other because I've got the relationship with him means that he can work through it. He's not happy. A lot of times people are like, but it's fun. Dad, it's fun. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was fun for me too. Until I was exhausted at work because I had half an hour's sleep by leveling up my dinosaur. Like that was not fun. Like going through work half asleep, thinking about dinosaurs, hunting other dinosaurs was not fun. I didn't want snakes in my dreams that night, but they were there because I played it so many hours. Like that's not fun. It's fun in the moment, but afterwards, its impact is not fun. And that's really the only thing that I've found that's having any kind of positive traction to distract him from the games and to bring him kind of back to where we want to be. Have you tried, like, what was those conversations been like in your house? Have you had that conversation with the boys about the video games, or is it?
Yes, I have. I kind of frame it, I think, when I've talked to him about it, like your computer, your screen is controlling you. You're not controlling it. And I think most of the times that I've had those conversations with them have been when I've been frustrated and trying to get them off. So I don't know that my intervention, my
sounds
work
so calm when you say it here. You're controlling it. Yes. It's not controlling. At the moment, it's controlling you.
Yes. So I think that showing my kids the research on that and my understanding of it and having them listen to or read the research on it, I think that would be really valuable. I have not been able to find the time or structure the time or make that a priority yet, so that they
if you tell them after the conversation to get some game time, they might be really interested.
That's a great idea. But I think that that's important. I think I also want to make them aware of the amount of time that it is, so that they're aware of that time that they've been sucked into whatever it is that they're doing. Because I think they can they understand that time and how they spend their time. So I think both those are good things to get them to continue to reflect on and think about.
Yeah. And obviously my son's 8 years old, your boys are a little bit older, so they might be a bit more sort of
I
have a higher level conversation.
I think my older one who's 12 would understand that and be able to read some of the research. My younger one would understand it at a really basic level, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar with the girls. I actually asked them a question, and I really want to. I asked them the question about what are the positives. Was
this what you teased us with?
Yeah. So I teased with it. So Lavinia, who's 4 years old, I asked her, I said, so what's the positive thing about mobile phones? She said, well, you can take pictures and you can share them. Great. That's quite a cool thing, actually.
Yeah.
Who are you sharing with? Which social media platform are you on at 4 years old? She also said you can eat yourself with your phone, which I didn't really think actually connected to anything, but she was eating her breakfast at the time, so maybe I confused that. My other child, she said taking pictures. She also said if you ask mummy and daddy politely, you can play games sometimes. That was quite nice.
I like that there's a polite, respectful gateway there.
There was.
If you ask
that's never happened.
How often does she ask nicely?
But you've told her that.
She's very polite. That's unfair to say. She's very polite most of the time. And then my eldest, she's 9 years old. She said that it was good to communicate with each other. She interestingly said it was good to communicate with her friends because she could communicate with her friends. People, when you're far away from them, you can communicate with them. And she went down that route. Then I talked about the risks. Lavinia said, she said something about it's only for mums and dads' phones. And then I started to feel a bit bad because I realized that we are equally guilty and I don't have anybody holding me accountable for when I go on the phone and I go through periods when I'm not particularly good and I'm not really modeling what should be happening. My middle child said if you go on YouTube, you can sometimes see some really bad stuff. We've had conversations about that. So going back to what you were saying, we're really trying to talk to our kids about it, which is difficult at a young age, about saying, if you do go on, these are the things that can happen. And we're going to give you this, but we're going to give you responsibility. You tell us how long you're going to be on it and how long that's going to last for, and you can give it us back.
And there's always that inherent danger because I've struggled with that conversation with my son of like, if I tell him there's bad stuff on YouTube, like, and come to us, is that going to pick curiosity? And he's going to go, ooh, what is the bad stuff? Because his concept of bad is not what I'm referring to. And I don't want to make it explicit because then I might as well show him the stuff. Like if I outline, like there's a balance between here's offensive, there's some bad stuff on the other side, and please don't be curious enough to go and look.
Exactly,
for it.
And you can't really say what that bad stuff's going to be. And the other day,
and I don't even know.
The other day they found something on YouTube that was the bad stuff, and we hadn't put the child setting on, and they were on YouTube, and I could see the history. I think it was either on my phone or the iPad later, and they said, "Daddy, we did watch something on the YouTube." I said, "Oh, what was it?" He said, "Well, it involved something in the toilet," and I said, "Okay," and sure enough. But I couldn't find it for ages and ages and ages. But because they've been going on YouTube, they found some algorithm. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was just somebody putting toilet roll down a toilet. I mean, it's a meme, I guess. What was interesting was when I was younger, we watched TV, right? Maybe there's no mobile phones, no devices like that. So I was watching TV, and my grandma would say, if you watch the TV, she doesn't talk like that really. I think that really wasn't fair. If you watch TV,
yes, my boy.
if you sit too close to the TV, your eyes will go square.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that my middle child said, she said, if you watch YouTube too long, sure enough, she said, and it can make your eyes go square. Where has she heard that? Where has she heard that? Me.
Yeah.
It's me.
Probably in that same, your eyes will go square.
I know, I probably did say it like that. So there was so many things, but they did understand scrolling. They did talk about scrolling and the impact of scrolling. And there was lots of other things that came up. But I don't have a fix of how we stop it, how we prevent it, when we hit that pause point, how long we go on it. I don't really have a solution, only an open conversation.
And then I mean, like on the whole premise of this show, right? We are still figuring it out and trying to muddle our way through parenting. And also, it's not fathering is a verb. It's not just our role to model it. When you look around at society, we was at a restaurant last night. We went out for a celebratory dinner. My son had done really well at cross-country meet. And we were celebrating how smartly he had paced himself and how he had like controlled these sort of, he didn't go off in the sprint start. He was like 30, 40 back on the first corner. And then he slowly made his way up to the pack to finish in the top 10. So we celebrated the process that he had the self-control. Let's go for a nice dinner at your favorite restaurant. We get there. He's got a bit of a Lego set. He's got some doodling. We play a few like card games over dinner. Look around the restaurant. Every single other person is on their phone. Families there where every kid, 7 months, it couldn't have been more than a year, phone in hand. And when the kid tries to put the phone down because they're more interested in the parents are picking the phone up and putting it back in their hands. Oh, you've dropped your phone. Like, let's put it back. It's like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so how do we get more society to go, what's the alternative to a phone? The alternative is conversation. But if you're only having that with us, you sit on the train, you look around, who are you going to have a conversation with? Because everybody else is on their phones. Is that, where do we start with that, do you think, North? How do we get people to start being more open to having conversation?
I mean, internally in our families, we have to model that for sure. And we have to be willing to start conversations with people that we don't necessarily know. If we're in the train setting, or to sit there.
Excuse me, you've been on your phone for 10 minutes. Could you put it away now? Your time's up unless you have a conversation with me. 5.
I love that.
I could end in tears.
I mean, nice to see. Like, obviously, we're in Kuala Lumpur, and I don't know how often you two will ride the metro or the train line, but they've got female-only carriages for the protection of women and making them feel secure and comfortable. It's a fantastic idea, and I've seen many times men that have gone onto the wrong carriage very quickly get redirected by people around them. What about like a device-free carriage? Do you think anyone would sit in it? Would anyone sit there for a conversation? Jez, you work like in that kind of...
No, listen, I remember seeing that exact image that you talked about of the whole family sat on a table and they're supposed to be coming together to communicate and everybody's on their device. And this is going back 8 years. So it's not something that we're quite new to. It's something that's happened all the time. I mean, schools are moving towards that. I don't know how schools got so sucked into having so many devices, but you go into schools these days and the first thing the kids do before they go into school is they're on their phones. They're not having a conversation. They're not looking up. They're not communicating. In terms of how we manage that, you said have more conversations with people. At home, we hold ourselves accountable. We ask the kids to chip in and say, what can we do better? And we have a place for our phones. We put them out of sight, out of mind, because they are devices that attract your attention. And
the research shows that just having it in your pocket or on the table, you are constantly filtering for that ping. You're primed for a notification if it's anywhere in your vicinity.
You're twitching. I see it in my classroom all the time. In the last 10 years, I've seen an increase in the amount of fidgeting and distraction and concentration span. This is not a scientific experiment. I'm a drama teacher. We need distractions. We need creativity. But I've noticed that students literally can't just sit still and focus on words for longer because they want to swipe to the next screen.
Yeah.
Or they want to get an extra reward.
There was recent stuff, I think it was out of Norway, where they were looking at one-to-one device uses across like 80-something countries. And they found that education, concentration spans, all that stuff has taken a dive anywhere that there's one-to-one devices and not such a negative impact where there's not one-to-one devices. And I mean, that's a quagmire to topic
Absolutely.
of technology in school. It's a huge quagmire. You can't say no technology. You can't say full-on technology.
Yeah.
It's a nuanced view that we're still figuring out because it's a huge global social experiment with our kids.
Yeah.
But when I look at that, I go, who's designing the parameters of the experiment? Who's manipulating these variables? And it comes back to like yesterday, last week, 2 weeks ago. If we're not parenting our kids, the algorithm is. If we're not designing the experiment of what do we want intentionally or unintentionally to be using these devices for, the algorithm will. It will very quickly experiment with what's more effective. Look at cartoons. There was a great one I saw a few days ago. It had a contrast between Winnie the Pooh, like an old scene from Winnie the Pooh. And it was like a minute-long clip, and nothing in the scene changed apart from Piglet trying to get through this door and knocking on the door. It was a minute. It was really calming. Underneath it had something from Coco Melon, and it was just a battery of noise and moving and flashing and scene shifts. So I guess kind of to bring our conversation towards a close, what's one thing we can do, North, or one thing that you would take away from this conversation in your house to combat or to be more intentional with the screen use? What are you looking to do?
I think for us, we have a pretty clear rule of where we don't have devices in the bedrooms, specifically our kids' bedrooms, and our bedrooms at night as well. Our bedroom at night, we leave that downstairs, out of sight, out of mind. But we like to have the devices on the kitchen table so that we can hear what's going on when we're making dinner, washing dishes, or things like that. So we can keep half an ear on what's going on. So I think that is one piece. We've also
the kids, if they're on devices, will be in a space that you're also in.
That we're also in. Yeah, exactly.
I thought you meant the device would just be on the kitchen table, so you're listening out for your notifications. No, it's if you're on the device,
the kids are on
you are
devices,
in my that supervision that we spoke about previously.
Yes.
Like you're kind of semi-structured, semi-free.
And then the other piece that we experimented with a little bit, and then it lapsed, but I think I would like to go back to, is having all of us off of our devices by 8:00 in the evening. And so that's me and my wife as well. So that we're not distracted, so that we have some time where it's getting ready for bed and it's more family time. Maybe it's playing cards, maybe it's playing ping pong. And I think that will be a challenge for me. I listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that. And so when I'm doing chores, I'm oftentimes doing that. And so I'll be listening and washing the dishes. And my kid will be like wanting to listen to something at that time too, while he's playing with a soccer ball in the kitchen. But for him, he's like listening to YouTube. And so he'll be listening to it, but he has to go back over and over and over and over again. And that is really challenging for me. So thinking about turning devices off at 8:00 in the evening will be,
and having that kind of detox time
will be a challenge for us, and it will be a challenge for them too. But I think will be helpful.
What about yourself, Jez?
It's difficult.
Buy funnier cats.
I mean, actually, look at the cats. It's a challenge, on the day-to-day basis. Both my wife and I are working. You come home, you're quite tired, and you've got to shift another gear to try and find that energy to interact in a meaningful way. And sometimes you feel like, I really failed as a parent because I've just put the screen on, or I've just allowed them to play on the iPad for a little bit, or whether it's the Switch, the console, what have you. That you sometimes need that little break. But in doing that, you make more work for yourself, because once they've gone on that game, you have the reaction afterwards. Even when our youngest has watched a little bit of television, her behavior shifts significantly because of the Cocomelon bubble. It's flashing images. It's not calm, although we can find some calm programs. It's a big challenge. I have actively in the last few weeks been trying to just engage a little bit more with that energy in terms of play, even if I'm really tired. And actually a small little bit of play can trigger and set something in motion. And it's so easy to get into that pattern of, here's a device because mummy and daddy are tired. And then mummy and daddy, what do? They'll scroll on something and then hesitate, put it down, and you're creating this negative pattern. So I like this idea of stopping 8:00. I mean, in our house, it probably have to be a bit earlier. But also, I think I said it earlier, when you go to exercise, you feel, do I have to exercise? Do I have to exercise? Do I have to exercise? And then you do it.
I don't personally have that
I
experience.
know you don't. And I've seen you running, and I try and keep up with you. It's very difficult. It's the same thing with your kids. Sometimes you're like, they need my attention. And there's three girls and there's a cat. But as soon as you enter into that, you start the first 10, 15 seconds and suddenly it's a winner. So that would be my thing. Just get over that little hurdle.
Be present.
Give that 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds and play will start to happen.
It's interesting because that's exactly what I've been doing in my household the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've started playing. We'll get home from school and I am tired at the end of the school day. I need that moment to relax, maybe have a sandwich, just scroll. And what we've been doing instead is, we're going to go straight to the squash court or we're going to go to the swimming pool. And I don't want to go swimming after work. We're privileged enough to have a nice pool at the condo we live in. It's quite cold. It's sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And he wants to jump in and he wants to play this like shark game where I chase him and he has to do laps and I've got to zigzag and try and get him to get the points and vice versa. He was just really cool the other day. He was like, well, if you get me once, then you've killed the human. But then I become a plastic bag because that's what's left after humans and I hunt the shark. I'm like, wow, ecological understanding happening in our planet. But the first few times, I really don't want to go down there. Well, Nat, my wife, I'm like, can you take him down? I'll join you down there in 5 minutes. And because she's been at home, it's like, all right, they've left the house and I've promised I'm going to be down there. Don't touch the phone because then I will swallow half an hour before I get down there and they're done. I will sit down for 5 minutes and just quiet on my own, take a few breaths, maybe do a bit of breath work and then go down to the pool and just, I'm going to jump in, get it over and done with. And as soon as I'm in, I find that half hour, 45 minutes, an hour can just fly by because we're having fun. We'll go down to the squash court and half hour, 45 minutes, gone. And it's like, having that conversation. I think my big one would be the conversation with the kids. Like I will talk to Alfie often, but didn't you just lose half an hour? Like, wasn't that so much fun? And afterwards, don't you feel so good? Yeah, I do. Well, you get that same experience when you're watching TV or you're on your game. You lose half an hour. How do you feel afterwards? Frustrated, angry, irritable, hungry. Yeah, it's not the same after effects. So let's have that. So I think for me, the eye opener was playing his games and watching his shows and going, if I can't keep myself safe on this, what chance does an 8-year-old boy have? He has none. And then the second thing is sort of like the next step. You can't take something away without giving something. You can't give without taking away. You've got to have that balance. So feeling that time, I've taken away the device. Being present, I think, is a great one.
Absolutely.
And obviously, we're going to continue still fathering it out. Thank you for joining us today. I think the conversation doesn't stop when we finish talking. It starts the conversation in society that we need to have. And take what you've heard from today's conversation and at home, have that conversation with your significant other. Have it with your friends around you. What are we doing and modeling to our kids when it comes to device use and screen time? Are we encouraging them to win, lose, and become addicted? Or are we going to offer them something better? Thanks for joining us. We're fathering it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.